As always, the Western gaming industry is asking the right questions, such as, is this the face of a child? And is this sexual... Sorry, let's do that again. And is this sexualized content? Because if both of those are true, that is what we would call in Japanese NG, no good. Shokun, おはようございます。こんにちは、こんばんは。コメント乱闘へようこそ。Welcome to Commento Ranto, where we boldly go where no gaijin has ever gone, into the Japanese comments section. Today we'll be looking at a controversy in the gaming sphere involving the game Stellar Blade Blood Rain. Now to give a very brief background for those in the audience who may be employed, the main point of controversy involves how the new main character, Evie, looks really young, with some people saying she looks like a teenager and others even saying she looks like a child, which isn't necessarily a problem by itself, but... Looking at the previous installment in the series and the new trailer, I'm thinking there might be a little bit of fan service involved in this game as well. Now, since a lot of comments regarding this controversy were directly targeted at Asian developers, and there were many comments saying that this is a common thing in Asian games, you can expect them to come back swinging. So there will probably be some racism, some sexism, and all sorts of isms in between, but let's not take it personally and just have a good time and learn some Japanese. On that note, この動画において紹介されるコメントには過激な内容を含む可能性があり、あくまでネタとして紹介されております。コメントのすべては投稿した本人の意見であり、決して私自身やとりあえず日本語の誰の意見でもありませんのでご了承ください。Now, the website we'll be taking comments from today has the subtitle of 海外の反応 or Foreigners React. There are actually lots of websites that cover these kind of topics, normally Japan related and how foreigners are reacting to Japan issues. But today we are looking at the Japanese comments responding to those foreigners' reactions. If you're interested in checking out all the comments, I will leave a link to the website down below. Now let's get into it. 行きましょう! So the thread starts off with this picture saying, hey gamers, which do you prefer? Now this is the foreigners post and the rest will be Japanese reactions to that post. So we have the East and the West. And just to be clear, I have no ill will towards anyone, either of the developers of either of these games. We're just here to have a fun time. Well, after several other foreigners' comments saying that she looks way too young, this is our first Japanese comment we have here. 幼く見えるんじゃなくて、お前らが老けて見えるだけなんだという単純な話にどうして気づかないのかね。So, to break it down, we have 幼く見えるんじゃなくて. So, 幼く comes from our e adjective, 幼い. We use this ku here. We drop the e, add the ku when we are using an e adjective as an adverb. So to do something in this manner. And that's often used with mieru, which means to appear in a certain way. So 幼い young, 幼く見える to appear young. This is saying the situation. So it's the situation or the state where something appears young. And then じゃなくて. This is the te form of janai, which means not, right? So it's not that this character looks young. Omaera. So omaera. Omae is a not very nice way to say you. Omaera is the plural form of that. So you guys, you can translate that in mean ways if you want to, but it's not showing a lot of respect. So omaera ga, you guys ga. This is you guys are gonna do something. Fukete mieru. Okay, so fukeru is to kind of look old or to get old. And when we use fukeru with the te form along with mieru, fukete mieru means you look old. And then dake, only. This nanda is once again using this to describe a situation. This is in Genki chapter 12 if you're interested. It's des or no des. So that's the situation. Toyu, this is kind of describing the kind of thing, and that's what we use to connect to tanjun na hanashi. So tanjun is a na adjective, which is why we have this na here, meaning simple. And then hanashi, this is a topic, theme, situation, right? So it can also be like a story. Here it's more like a topic or a fact, right? A simple fact. Ni, we're going to use ni because we're using a certain verb that requires it. Doushite, doushite, why? And then we have kizuku, to realize something. In the negative, kizukanai, to not realize something. No, once again, this situation. Kane, and this kane just kind of makes it a question. So to put this all together in English, we say, how do you not realize that it's not that the character looks young, it's just the simple fact that You all look so old. エプスタイン民族は大変やな。So this is エプスタイン民族 The Epstein's people. What? Main topic here. 大変やな. So 大変 means rough. And then やな. This ya is the same as like da or des. Now this is kind of kansai ben here. And then na is a more masculine ne, also more commonly seen in the Kansai region, I would say. Now, this minzoku here literally means like people or tribe. You can use this to be racist. Please don't. I am teaching you this to avoid racism, not to promote it. So, if you put bad thing plus minzoku, it means like people who are known for that thing. So here, sorry Americans, we have Epstein minzoku, Epstein's people. And so altogether, it must be really hard to be Epstein's people. 仮に子供が怪物倒すゲームだったとして問題があるのかと。見た限り性的描写なんてなさそうだけど、何騒いでんだか。Even if this were a game where a kid takes out monsters, what's the problem with that? As far as I can see, there are no sexual depictions. So what are they making a fuss about? So 仮に when you're setting up a hypothetical, or even if something were the case, you can use 仮に as well as として. This として means like, we're making it this way, this is what we are supposing. So even if 仮に, and then we suppose with this として, even if 子供が怪物, so 子供 is going to be a child. Ga, the child's gonna do an action here. And the action is 怪物を倒す. So 怪物 is monsters. O marks our object that is going to be acted upon with the verb 倒す, to take out. And all of that describes game. So a game where a child takes out a monster. So even if this were, this datta is the were, past tense. So even if this were a game where a kid takes out monsters, 問題があるのかと. So 問題 is an issue. Ga, there's going to be a verb that this 問題 does, and that is ある, which is to exist. And then this no is the situation, and the ka is our question. So is there an issue with that? And then this to is kind of the point this person is making. So when you have a to, it kind of marks something as like a quote, right? So what I say is, even if this were a game where a kid takes out monsters, are there any problems with that? That's my point. That's why I use this to. Then we have 見た限り. So 見た is see in the past tense, 見る. Past tense goes to 見た. 限り, as far as you can see. So as far as I see, when I look at it, 性的描写. So 性的, this is sexual, and then 描写 is like a depiction or something like that. And then なんて, nothing like. So when we have なんて combined with a negative, which we'll talk about in a second, it means nothing like this. And then we have ない, which means not exist. Then when we have ない and we want to connect it to soul, which means appears to not exist, we have to change that e, so this would normally be ない into なさそう. It appears to not exist. And then だけど is our however, this da being our des, and けど being our but. So, as far as I can see, there are no things such as sexual depictions in this game. However, 何騒いでんだか. So 何 what is 騒いでんだが or だか sorry, not だが. 何騒いでんだか comes from our verb 騒ぐ, means to make a fuss, to make lots of noise. We put that in our te form, 騒いで, and then this is a casual form here of 騒いでいる, to be currently doing something. But when you combine 騒いでいる with んです or んだ, we can kind of, in casual speech, drop off a lot of it. You can just go 何騒いでんだが. So 騒いでいるんだか 騒いでんだか. And this da is our is, and this ka is, all of this together is just kind of like, I don't even understand. It's implying わかりません after this. I don't know, right? I don't really know what they're making the big deal. Now, I try not to put my personal opinion in here too much, but no sexual depictions in this game. I think might be a little bit off there. 欧米では童顔はバカにされるからな。童顔が嫌で整形する女優だっているし。So, in the Europe and Americas, baby faces are made fun of or looked down upon. There are even actresses who undergo plastic surgery because they don't like their baby face. So, 欧米では Obe is going to be Europe. This first kanji means Europe, and this be means the Americas in this context. So, Obe dewa, this dewa tells us, as far as in Europe and the Americas, Dogan is a baby face. Looking at the kanji, we have baby face. Dogan wa, it's our main topic or framework here. Baka ni sareru. So, baka ni suru is to make fun of or look down upon someone. And then this is in the past tense. So, suru goes to sareru. Baka ni sareru, to be made fun of or to be looked down upon. And then we have kara, that's our reason, and na, this is kind of a more masculine ne. So, well, it is the case that baby faces are looked down upon in Europe and the Americas. And then dogan ga yade. So dogan, once again, baby face ga. This baby face is going to be something or do something. And then yade. Ya is to not like, kind of like to be against something. And then de is what we use to say it is this, right? So the baby face is not liked. I don't like the baby face. Seikei suru. So seikei means to reshape or reformat something. In this context, it means to get plastic surgery. They also call that seikei. And then joyu is an actress. You can see a female actor. So joyu, actress. Datte is even. And then iru is exist. And shi we use for giving a reason. So, 童顔が嫌で整形する女優 is going to be an actress who gets plastic surgery due to not liking their baby face. And then such an actress だっている. Even such actresses exist. And that's our reason, right? So, they have baby faces, and to get rid of their baby faces, they will undergo plastic surgery. Those kind of actresses also exist. Real quick post-edit note, I want to sincerely apologize for some of the audio issues that are going on. Sometimes the audio will cut out for just like a quarter of a second, where you can just miss a few syllables in the Japanese. Overall, it shouldn't affect the video that much, but it's probably really annoying, and I'm really sorry. I am working on it, and I think we should be good going forward. 見た目が幼いって文句つけんのまさに差別なんだが、ポリコレの差別は綺麗な差別だからいいのかってなるやつ。Complaining about her looking young is discrimination, but politically correct discrimination is good discrimination, so it's okay. That's what kind of a thing it is, right? Okay, so this is a very Japanese sentence that's kind of hard to translate in English, but we'll do our best. So, 見た目 is appearance. So literally we have the past tense of miru, to see, with me. So me being eyes, mitame, the eyes that you saw them with, their appearance. Mitame ga, that mitame, the appearance is osanai, which is young. This te here can be a shortened form of to or toyu. Here it's probably just to, but osanai to monku tsukeru no. So monku is a complaint. Monku tsukeru would be to like give a complaint. And then in order to use this later in the sentence, we have to turn this into a noun by using no. So the thing of complaining with this to, saying that her appearance is young. So 見た目が幼いって文句つけるの. Complaining that she looks young. まさに So まさに is like precise, on the spot. That is itself. Then we have 差別, which is discrimination. And then this なんだ is the んです describing our situation. So we're in the situation where complaining she looks too young is to a T discrimination. However, ポリコレ. So ポリコレ, I think the appropriate way to say this as the full word is political correctness. This is political correctness. Now, this is very common in Japanese where you just, if there is a foreign phrase that comes in two words, you take the two first letters of the first word and the two first letters of the second word. So this pori is from political, and this kore is from correctness. So porikore is political correctness. No is for connecting to a noun here. So porikore no would be politically correct. Sabetsu, which is discrimination. So discrimination that is deemed to be politically correct. Wa, main framework or idea here. Kirei na sabetsu. So kirei means pretty, clean, proper. In this context, it's kind of like okay. So kirei na sabetsu. Porikore no sabetsu wa kirei na sabetsu. Be politically correct discrimination is okay discrimination. It's discrimination that is permitted. It's fine, right? It's maybe even good with this kirei, right? And then dakara, because politically correct discrimination is good discrimination. Ii no ka? I being good, no situation, is it good that we're in the situation where that's good? And the ka is a question. And then this te naru yatsu. So this is kind of confusing. This yatsu here, yatsu can mean a thing or a person. Here it's kind of unclear whether they're talking about a person or a thing. I think they're talking about the thing. And then naru means to become. So, oh, it becomes that kind of a thing. It's that kind of a thing. And once again, we have te. This is a to, which kind of takes everything in front of it and makes a quote. So this te naru yatsu, oh, it's that kind of a thing. So it's the kind of thing where, because the political correctness is good or proper the politically correct discrimination is proper discrimination, it's fine, right? So that's what they're kind of saying here. Oh, it's fine because it's good politically correct discrimination, right? So is that what you're saying? 20代って言われれば普通にそうにしか見えん. If someone were to say she were in her 20s, naturally I would only be able to see her as in her 20s. So 20代 is the 20s. If you put a die after a interval of 10, like 20 here, 20代 be the 20s. Te, once again we have this te meaning to, which is a quote, or we are saying something here. So 20代と言われれば. So this comes from our verb you, which means to say someone's in their 20s. But then you are not saying it, it is being said. So we take you, put it in the passive form, which is where we get iwareru. So iwareru would be for something to be said. And then we do that in our ba form. So iwareru, to be said that she's in her 20s. And then this iwarereba is how we say if it were said. So if I were told, or if it was said that she's in her 20s, 普通に. So 普通に literally means normally or generally. In this case, maybe more like naturally. And then so would be in that way with a ni, particularly so ni. This is kind of the adverb form of that. So ni shika. So shika almost always comes with a negative verb here. Now this is a casual form that's commonly seen in the Kansai dialect, Kansai Ben. So this would actually be mienai, which would be the negative of mieru. And mieru is to see something or to be seen in a way, right? And 見えない would be not be seen. Now with しか and ない, that means you can only see it in this way. So it's kind of like, you can think of it as a double negative, but it's not really. But しか with a negative means only in a certain way. So 20代って言われれば, if it were said that she was in her 20s, or if I was told she was in her 20s, 普通に naturally, そうにしか見えない. I could only see her as being in her 20s. So that being the fact. I could only see her as being in her 20s. And yeah, this is a casual nai form, more commonly seen in the Kansai dialect as I've seen, but it's in Tokyo and all around the country as well. But 見えん instead of 見えない. So I can only see her in that way. 嫉妬から来るタイプの差別. This is the type of discrimination that comes from jealousy. So 嫉妬 means jealousy. I'm sure you guys are going to have a field day, have a lot of fun saying that one. 嫉妬 is jealousy. So 嫉妬から means from jealousy. And then 来る means to come. So 嫉妬から来る coming from jealousy. And then that is describing タイプの差別. So type is from the English word type or kind. No, because these are nouns, we use no to connect them to say 差別, which is discrimination. So this is discrimination of the type that comes from jealousy. 嫉妬から来るタイプの差別. Alright, now there were lots of comments responding to this particular comment, and I have to show it. It comes along with a picture, but first, we'll just read this first line here. So we have 東洋は東洋, 西洋は西洋, which is the east is the east, the west is the west. And this is the picture that it came along with it. So we've got a cosmopolitan from the west and a cosmopolitan from the east. Why do they have to do us this dirty? Okay, now this one's nice and simple. We got 東洋は東洋, 西洋は西洋. So 東洋 is going to be the west, or sorry, the east, as in the part of the world. 東洋, the east part of the world. は, 東洋. So we use this は for contrast and comparison. You'll notice there's a double は here. This is very common when you're saying this is this, but this is this, right? So 東洋は東洋, the east is the east, and 西洋は西洋, the west is the west. So they're different things. East is east, west is west. コスモポリタンの左側はフリークス特集なのか? So is the cosmopolitan on the left side the freak special? That's so Alright, so Cosmopolitan is the name of the magazine. Cosmopolitan no 左側. So 左 being left, 側 being side, 左側. So the left side cosmopolitan, Cosmopolitan no 左側は, as far as that goes, our main topic here, フリークス is a freak or freaks. 特集 is a special. So this can be like a special edition of a magazine. So フリークス特集. And then this なのか, this is the or the no for no this or this. So situation. Is that what kind of a situation? Is that what kind of a thing this is? Is the left side cosmopolitan the freak show special? あまりめんどくさいこと言うと西洋向けだけ小太りおばさんに変えられるよね. If you keep saying such annoying stuff, only the Western version will be changed to a chubby middle-aged woman. So あんまりめんどくさいこと言うと. So あんまり is, you probably know it if you're a beginner or intermediate learner as like not often. That's when we use it with the negative. But here, あんまり with the affirmative verb means like do something too much, right? So here we have あんまり with our verb you, which would be saying this a little too much or a lot. So あんまりめんどくさい. So めんどくさい is annoying or troublesome. In this case, I would say annoying. And then めんどくさいこと things. So annoying things 言うと. And this other to is slightly different from the to we've talked about previously. This one is like if you do this verb or upon doing this verb. So upon saying, or if you keep saying these annoying things too much. 西洋向け. So we learned 西洋 means the West. 向け means for something or fitting something. So for the West, 西洋向け would be something for the West. And then だけ is going to be only. So only the version that's for the West. 小太り. You'll see it is small and fat if you look at the kanji here. So 小太り is chubby as opposed to just 太っている or 小太り. You're a little bit on the chubbier side. And then おばさん is not おばさん. おばさん would be like a grandma, a really elderly person. おばさん is like a middle-aged woman. So おばさん. 小太りおばさん would be a chubby middle-aged woman. に変えられる. So 変える is to change, where we are doing the passive here. So not to change, but to be changed. And we use the particle ni here because that is what we are marking is being changed into. So おばさんに変えられる. So it will be changed into a chubby middle-aged woman. And this yone is kind of like, right? That's the way it's going to be. If you keep saying such annoying things, only the Western version is going to have a chubby middle-aged woman in the game. Now this one is in response to that previous comment about it being a chubby middle-aged woman. And then the person says, それでいいと思うで。操作キャラみんなマーサ・スチュアートにしてやればいい。I think that's great. We should make all playable characters into Martha Stewart. So we have それでいい. So それ being that. それで by that or with that. And then いい. This day is telling what state in that state would be いい, which is good. So それでいい. That's great. と思う. So と, once again, this kind of marks our thing here. This is what we are thinking. 思う means to think. And then で, this is Kansai, the Kansai dialect for yo. So それでいいと思うよ. I think that's great. Just adds a little more emphasis, a little more excitement to the thought there. Okay. And then 操作キャラ. This comes from 操作キャラクター. 操作 is operate or control. So 操作キャラ would be controllable characters. みんな is all of them or everyone. マーサ・スチュワート is Martha Stewart. And then we have にする. So when you have something にする, you're making it a certain way. So to make all controllable characters into Martha Stewart. みんなマーサ・スチュワートにする. And then we have てやる. So the する is put in the て form, which goes to して. And then てやる. So this is kind of like てあげる, to do something for someone. But with てやる, you're doing someone a favor, but you're putting them below you. So like, if you're giving down, if someone high above gives down to someone else, then we'll use てやる. So this is implying that the people that are complaining about this are below these people. Like, yeah, I guess we'll just have to do this for these low individuals. And then this てやる is then being put in the ba form to mean if, and then I meaning good. So, ba I is a very common combination of grammars that you'll see. This is kind of giving someone advice. We should just do this, or you should do this. So, we should, with this してやればいい, we should be nice and give to them by making all playable characters into Martha Stewart. So, I think that's great. We should make all playable characters into Martha Stewart. 女優やモデルにいそうな顔立ちに見える. So once again we have 女優, which is an actress, やモデル. So モデル is a model. When we list two nouns with や in between, we are giving two examples but saying and other things like them. So actresses, models, etc. に いそう。So this is にいる exist with the soul as in like you would, it seems like that kind of person would exist. And then because soul is technically a non-adjective, if we want to connect it to a noun, 顔立ち, we have to use a na. And this 顔立ち is your facial features or your facial looks. And then に見える is once again to appear as or to look like. So it appears or it looks like facial features that look like they would exist in actresses, models, etc. 何でもかんでも政治とポリコレをエンタに持ち込むのは海外あるあるだな。それで大失敗をしまくってるのに全然懲りない。Bringing all politics and political correctness into entertainment is something that happens all the time abroad. Then they continue to have huge failures, but then they never learn their lesson. They are calling out the Western game devs. Now, so 何でもかんでも. This is a way to say like anything and everything. So 何でもかんでも anything and everything. 政治 is going to be politics. ポ is going to be and. ポリコレ is political correctness. So politics and political correctness. Oh, we're going to do something to these with a verb. Then enta is entertainment. Ni, we're going to do something to or in entertainment. And then 持ち込む is to bring into. So 持ち込む. To bring something into entertainment. And what are we bringing into it? That's what's marked by our O. Politics and political correctness. All things in politics and political correctness bringing into entertainment. And then when we want to use this as our topic, we have to turn it into a noun. So we use this no. エンタに持ち込むのは. So the thing of bringing anything and everything politics and political correctness related into entertainment, what is 海外あるあるだな. So 海外 is overseas, literally outside on the seas. And then this is a really cool phrase that you can use all the time. So あるある. This is like something that is so this, right? So it happens all the time. Literally exists. That totally happens. So 海外あるある. This happens all the time in other countries, right? And then だな. This is like だね. Da being our is and な being our more masculine ね. So bringing anything and everything, politics and politically correctedness into entertainment is totally something that happens in foreign countries. Then それで and then 大失敗. So 失敗 is to have a mistake or an error or to fail. So 大失敗 would be a major failure or major flop. 大失敗. You can see 大 is big. You can throw this in front of a lot of nouns to mean like a huge. So 大失敗, a huge failure. お And then we're going to do something to 大失敗, which is しまくる. So しまくる means you do it over and over and over again. Then we have that in the ている form, and then we're being a little casual here, so we're dropping that e. So instead of しまくっている, saying しまくってる. So continue to have huge failures, and then のに, even though they continue to have huge failures, 全然懲りない. So 全然 with a negative means not at all. So 全然懲りない. And then this verb here, 懲りる, means to learn from experience. Now this is being put in the negative. So 懲りない. They never learn their lesson. You'll actually hear this one a lot in anime and games when there's someone like, oh, you just won't learn your lesson, will you? And then they kick their butt or something like that. They totally smash them or something like that. But 懲りないね. You just don't learn, do you? 出たおばさんのゲーム誰が買うのかっていう話。売れないゲーム誰も作りたくないやろ。売る側だって人生かかってるんやし。It's the topic of who will buy a game starring an old middle-aged woman. Nobody wants to make a game that can't sell, right? Those who sell it also have their lives on the line. So once again, here we have fuketa, which is to start looking old. Fuketa, once you fukeru, you are in that fuketa state. So someone who has become or looks old, right? Has become so that they look old. Obasan is a middle-aged woman, right? Obasan no game, because the game is about an old-looking middle-aged woman. Dare ga kau. So dare is who. Ga, the who, is going to do our verb here, which is kau. And that is to buy. This no is our situation no, along with our question ka. So dare ga kau no ka. Who is going to buy this game, right? So who is going to buy a game starring an old-looking middle-aged woman? And then te. This is once again to you. And hanashi. Here hanashi means like a topic. So you can say like te hanashi. That means like you're bringing up the topic. This is what we're talking about here. Like this is the main point, the main issue here is that who wants to buy a game about this, right? And then we have urenai game. So urenai, this is uru, to sell, in our potential form, which would be ureru. Sorry, this is hard to do with a mouse. So ureru, to be able to sell. And then that is in our negative to make urenai, a game that cannot sell. Urenai game. And then daremo. This means no one or everyone, depending on whether there's a negative, and there is a negative over here. So daremo means no one. Tsukuritakunai. So tsukuru, to make. Tsukuritai means we want to make it. That's called the tai form. Then when we put that in the negative, we drop the e and add kunai. So don't want to make, or nobody wants to make. And then yaro, this is a kansai ben daro or desho. So right. Nobody wants to make a game that cannot sell, right? Then we have urugawa. So uru, to sell. Gawa is the side. When you're talking about different parties, you're shifting here. We're talking about those who want to buy, but then we're switching out to those who sell. So the urugawa datte. And datte, once again, is even. So even those who sell it. Jinsei is their life. And then kakatteru. Kakaru is to depend upon something. And then once again, this is in the te-iru form. It currently depends on something. And then to make it slightly casual, we just drop that i. Kakatteru. Jinsei kakatteru. Your life depends on it. And then the is the situation. This ya is the kansai ben da. That is the situation we're in. Their life does depend on it. And then shi, we're giving that as a reason. ああ、コンコードもっとプレイしてやればよかっただろ? Well, you should have played more Concord, right? So, well, Concord, the game Concord, the major flop Concord. Motto is more. Then play suru, this is to play a game. And then we once again have te yaru. So, this is kind of a mean punch down as well here, because Concord with play shite yaru, implying Concord is trash, but you should have been kind enough to give down to it by playing it, right? So, motto play shite yaru, play it more, as you being the more important person and the game being not very important. And then yareba yokatta. So this ba form means if you would have played it more. Motto play shite yareba. And yokatta. Yokatta meaning that would have been good. So where we've seen ba I means you should do this. Ba yokatta means you should have done this. So if you regret something, you can also say sureba yokatta or something like that. And then this daro is like, right? So if you wanted this kind of stuff in games, you should have played more Concord, right? Not let that one fail. 一言で片付けるなら、うるせえ。If I were to consolidate this into a single phrase, you're annoying. Or shut up. We have which is one of the few you can say in Japanese. 一言. So you look at the kanji, a single word. Now this can be a phrase, not necessarily a word, but a phrase or an idea. 一言で in a single word. And then 片付ける means to clean something up, but it can also be like to consolidate it. So if I were to consolidate this into a single phrase, then this nara is where we get our if. So 一言で片付けるなら if I were to consolidate it into a single phrase, うるせえ. Now, うるさい literally means like annoying or loud. This can also be like just annoying as in just the way someone is. You're an annoying person. And it's also used as like a shut up. So a lot of times this will be in anime. It's translated as shut up. Like, I don't want to hear it anymore. So that's kind of the idea here. And then urusei is a very casual form of this. Maybe a little bit slang here. So, if I were to consolidate it into a single phrase, shut up, or you're annoying, we don't care. That's the feeling you get with urusei here. 騒いでる連中はゲームやらないから無視しても売り上げ変わらない. The crowd that's making a fuss will not even play the game, so the sales will not change if we just ignore them. So 騒いでる comes from 騒ぐ, this verb we've seen previously, to make noise, make a fuss, complain. And then that is in the te iru form, which would be 騒いでいる. An E would normally be in here. In casual Japanese, you can drop that E. So 騒いでる, currently making a fuss or making noise. 連中, so this is like a crowd or group. Often it's used when you're like othering people. So that group over there making a fuss. 連中は, so this is our main topic or framework here. ゲームやらないから. So ゲーム, the game. やらない, やる to do in the negative, やらない. And then から is because. So because the people making a fuss right now will not play the game. 無視しても. So 無視する is to ignore. And then する in the te form しても. And when we have the te form of a verb and も, that means even if. So even if we just ignore them, 無視しても. And then 売り上げ, this is supposed to have an u there, apologies for that. 売り上げ is the sales of a game in this case. So 売り上げ変わらない. So 変わる is to change, and to put that in the negative goes 変わら plus ない. 変わらない. So even if we ignore them, the sales will not change. 売り上げ変わらない. While these comments are anonymous, I think it's pretty safe to say that most of these comments are men, so I wanted to end off on one that I'm pretty sure is a woman. まあ、男の子もジャニーズ系にすべきだよ。女性ユーザーにも楽しみをください. Oh, the boys should also be made into the Johnny's type. Give a little fun to the women users as well. So, まあ is kind of like, well, 男の子, so 男 being a man, の子 being a boy, a child of a man, 男の子. Now, 男の子 doesn't necessarily mean children boys, it can also be like slightly older boys as well. But 男の子も also the boys. Johnny's is a Japanese boy band or talent group or whatever you want to call it. Idol group, right? Johnny's, and then K is type. So the Johnny's type of boys, right? Or men. にすべきだよ. So に to the Johnny's type, and する. So we've previously seen the にする when we are making something into something else. So here, Johnny's 系にする to make someone into the Journey's type of boy. And then する we have with すべき when we have beki attached to a verb, that means we must or we should do this thing. So, ジャニーズ系にすべき. We must make them into the Johnny's type. And だよ, it just adds a little emphasis. We really should, right? So, well, the boys also need to be made into the Johnny's types. And then 女性 user. So, 女性 is going to be women or female. User is users. にも also to the women users. 楽しみ is fun, excitement. And then お we're going to do something to that fun and excitement. And the verb we use with that is ください. So to give someone something, right? So please give fun and excitement also to the women users. So if you're gonna make sexy girls, you better make sexy boys as well and give them to the women. And that will be it for our video today. どうでしたか? How was it? Did you learn something new? Please let me know if you learned anything new in the comments below. And also let me know what you think about Eevee. Should this be stopped, or is this just the internet doing internet things and everyone is complaining about nothing? Thank you again for joining me today, and I will see you around. またね!